ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team. Step back, we gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Corrales above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. Thank you for making the show part of your regular routine. Normally 5 days a week during the course of the season. Now in August and September, down to 3 days a week, except for this week. With the schedule release, we're really milking this sucker. We're pushing it into 2 podcasts, but it's not all we're going to talk about in this one. So 4 days a week this week. Hey, we adjust. We go with whatever is necessary here. All you need to know is, if you subscribe to the show, you'll get this delivered directly to your device. So when you open up your podcasting app, you'll say, oh, there's a Locked On Celtics episode. Got to listen to that. Got to make it your first listen every single day. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a book called The Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars, and I'm now heading into year 16. It's a lot of years covering this team one way or another. And I'm joined now by Tom Westerholm, who has he's been around for a little while too, but not nearly as long as I have.
Yeah, I wanted to address this. I've accomplished a couple of things in my journalism career. I've been a Celtics beat writer. I have won some awards this last year. Won some awards. That was kind of cool. But my career as a journalist will not be complete until I am on the Locked On podcast with a Millie's intro for the Underscore Boys. I'm putting this out here to Millie's. You're awesome. I really like your music. And if you ever wanted to do an Underscore Boys intro, I'm not going to be mad about it. That's all I'm saying.
We will not be opposed if there's a special Underscore Boys intro for John Underscore Karalis and Tom Underscore NBA.
It will be my moment when I can finally put ashes in my Maybach. Maybach. I don't even know how to pronounce the name of a car.
You don't even know. You can't afford it. Maybach? You don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Maybach. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Maybe.
Blanco 5 is great. Shout out to Millie's.
Yeah. Hey, look, the best compliment I can give him is that an old person like me enjoys his music. And that's hard to do. It's hard to be an artist putting out new stuff and still have like people like me who have, I think some of my most recent, my last playlist might have 4 songs from like past 2000 on it, so it's tough. It's tough to break through my old habits, and he's good, man. He's good. Here's my rule. Here's my rule. And let me just say this: the intro by B. Eveready that I'm using right now is awesome. I love it. I wanted to go with somebody that wasn't Millie's, partly because I didn't want to ask Millie's. Hey, I know you're big now and you're charting on Billboard, but I need an updated intro. Can you do it? By the way, I haven't given you any money for any of them. You've done them just because you liked the podcast. Now that you're blowing up, can you still do free stuff for me? Didn't feel good about that. So
that makes sense. And like, you and I were joking about this last night, and I pointed out that I'm not sure. One, I don't know how you would rhyme Westerholm, so like I don't have to do that. That's why I'm suggesting Underscore Boys. That's an easy one. I'm aware of who I am. I'm aware of like my standing in relation to Millie's. So,
hey man, you're shooting your shot. You're shooting your shot, and I respect it. You are a shooter. There's nothing that's ever going to stop you from shooting. Yeah. That's you're a walking heat check.
I'm a heat check.
Let's talk a little bit about actual basketball that's being played. One thing I didn't mention one thing I didn't mention in yesterday's podcast, running down the whole schedule. I just stuck to the schedule and its impact and all that stuff. Opening night, the Celtics are debuting a City Edition jersey that's a tribute to Bill Russell. I don't know what it looks like, don't know what the design is, but I do know that the Celtics in their announcement of this said that Bill Russell and the league were involved, like Bill Russell was involved to some level in the kind of conception and all of this. So that gives me some hope, because if there's one thing that you can count on is Nike and the NBA just botching a Celtics uniform. I just cannot stand. They are too shackled to Celtics history, and they don't take any chances with these City Edition jerseys. I guess on the flip side, though, Tom, when they have taken chances, people have been like, "Oh, boo, boo," and so it's, you try to play it safe. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess. But I would like to see him take some chances. I'm hoping that this Bill Russell jersey is respectful. Obviously, I think it will be, but also like something with a little. Give me a little design to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like the ones where I feel like that whoever designed them kind of took a little bit of a risk. You've got like that one that was the spiky yellow letters that everyone hated, where it was like kind of like a St. Patrick's Day thing, I think.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Or if you look back far enough, you got what I think are some of the worst jerseys in like league history, which were the sleeved gray ones. I mean, those were catastrophic.
It was the sleeves, though, that really made them look like pajamas.
That's really what made it look pajama-y. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think, I mean, and also like, I don't know, gray on gray has never been like my thing. If you can pull it off, God bless you. But, I think like with the Celtics jerseys, it is tough, right? Because like there is so much history to draw on with the Celtics. And I think there's so many people who are like, I only like the classic whites, with the green lettering, or the classic green with the white lettering. So then I'm sure whoever's designing the jerseys feels this pressure to, try to appeal to Celtics history. And that's, how you end up. I thought the ones that were based off the banners were kind of cool. I know a lot of people didn't. I thought that was kind of a cool concept. But, there's like, it would be tough
for me.
Yeah,
that worked for me.
Well, nice, simple, clean, a little bit interesting. But regardless, to your point, I'm very like it's interesting that Russell was working with the Celtics on something like this. That there was some collaboration. I mean, it's just like, it's like good for him. I'm curious to see how it looks, but it's a little bit different than the type of thing that you usually hear. Like, oh yeah, Bill Russell was working on this. It's like, really a jersey?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what that end result is. People are going to buy it because it's a Bill Russell tribute jersey anyway. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think some of that design could look like? I'd love to see. There would be a nod to the 11 championships. There would be a nod to, I think, the 2 that he won as a coach.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Yep.
So you've got like the number 2, you got the number 11. I mean, maybe you go with the like 1956, like the year he was drafted. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe there's I don't know what else you would incorporate in there, but somehow the ring elements, the 11 and the 2, I think my guess would be some design element that's a nod to those 2 things.
Yeah, I mean, and I would imagine that there's some, I mean, not to the extent of like the the jerseys that said like equality or whatever on the back, probably not to that extent, but I would imagine there's something to, his activism as well. That's not something that that obviously that's, I mean, you can't talk about Bill Russell without talking about that. And then also just the Celtics, to their credit, have never shied away from incorporating that type of thing as well. So yeah, I would not be surprised at all if that was part of it as well.
I think it'd be cool if there was like on like the piping on the side, if there was like just some like within the green stripes, there were words like mentorship, equality. Like you can sew the words into the jersey without making the big blaring thing.
Yeah.
But you can put into the piping around the jersey, you can sew into it the words that identified Bill Russell as, what he was as a whole, right? And really pay tribute to him. And then within the piping, you can do like your 11 and 2 or whatever, or in the back, you can put like like 11 stars or something like that. But yeah, I think some sort of subtle, intricate detail when you zoom in on it, you go, oh, wow, they've done this. And oh, wow, there's a 6. Like if maybe there's like a translucent kind of like 6 that if you move the jersey a certain way, you can like see it underneath, or I don't know. It'd be
some magic eye where you get like real close to the jersey.
Yeah.
And then you kind of back
So you have to
away.
watch the entire game like with your eyes, just like, oh, I see it. Oh, no.
Lost it. Shoot. I think it was an elephant.
Yeah. Jaylen Brown finally cuts. Now I need him to stand still, and he finally makes a cut.
Shots fired.
I only picked Jaylen. I don't know. I mean, Jaylen started out his career as a backdoor cutter, and then he just kind of got away because he's playing above the break.
Yeah, I mean now the ball's in his hands too much.
Now the ball's in his hands. So now, so somebody else has to be the cutter. But I just look, for the sake of humor, you just got to say it and not even worry about it.
Yeah, I respect
so all right, so we're looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the Bill Russell tribute uniforms. They're going to be worn 12 times, 6 at home, 6 on the road. I'm sure they're going to be a huge hit. So we'll come back. We'll talk about a little bit of national TV. We're also going to talk about Matt Ryan. Tom, our guy.
I'm upset.
That was a little moment of silence there.
Yeah, it was.
Because of course he's the one guy that we both latched onto and not coming back. So that we'll talk about that next. I would have bet money on him earning. I mean, I kind of feel like an idiot because I was like, oh, maybe he's earned a roster spot. Maybe he's earned a guaranteed contract. And then, nope, sorry, Matt Ryan's not coming back. So I would have lost that bet, but I would have put it on at betonline.net, the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. You can find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. You can find reviews and news of every league, including the NBA. Obviously, there's Major League Baseball, there's NFL, NHL, all your combat sports, all your fights, esports. People bet on esports now, and golf. So BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. Live in-game betting as well. They have scores and podcasts up there. They've got you covered for everything. So head over to BetOnline. You can use your mobile device to do so and learn about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Please gamble responsibly. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Now make Locked On NBA your second listen every day. I host on Wednesdays with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans. We have a lot of fun. We have rotating hosts all week long, still a Monday through Friday podcast there. Get everybody's thoughts on the NBA. It's a fun podcast. Wherever you got Locked On Celtics, you can find Locked On NBA. I also want to invite everybody who is in the area, in the New England area, the southern New England area, to the Grecian Festival at the Assumption of Virgin Mary Greek Orthodox Church in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. That is going on this weekend. It's a fun event. It's now, obviously, I'm Greek. My dad's in charge of the thing, so got to give him a plug, and this way I can get some free food. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, it starts at 5. It goes 5 to 10. Saturday and Sunday, they both start at noon. They go to 10 p.m. on Saturday, 9 p.m. On Sunday, it's on Walcott Street. It's right off of 95. So if you're in the Rhode Island area, the Massachusetts area, you're looking for something fun to do, tons of great food that my dad has been cooking. My dad has been cooking all this food with the volunteers there. Check it out. There's traditional Greek dancing there. There's tons of amazing Greek pastries. A lot of fun this weekend. I'll be there on Friday. So come on by, swing on by if you're in the area.
Your dad's food is legendary from what I hear.
My dad, let me tell you something. We Greeks, we're all legally obligated. We all got to own a restaurant. So at some point I got to open one or buy one or something. That's just has to happen. So people go to BetOnline. Keep going to BetOnline, or get your Built Bars so I can open up a restaurant or else get kicked out of the tribe. Now,
In fact, if you win money on BetOnline, fund Corrales' restaurant.
That's right. I'll be looking for investors.
Yeah.
Still not sure what the restaurant will be, but I'm sure it'll have pizza or something. Yeah, I grew up in the restaurant business. My dad opened up a pizza place when I was like a little toddler. We'd have these big buckets of cheese that were like taller than me, and I would reach over the top and grab a handful and run out as like a 3-year-old eating handfuls of like shredded cheese. But he made the best pizza. Like it was so good that when he moved to a new location, the customers followed him. That's how I knew how good it was. So my dad's cooking is legit. It's legit. And so, yeah, hopefully people can come on down, support us over there at the Assumption Greek Orthodox Church on Walcott Street in Pawtucket. So, all right, let's since we're talking about religious stuff here, let's
what is this transition going to be?
let's say our prayers for the Matt Ryan, the end of the Matt Ryan era.
I like that one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
That was.
I mean, you could have done any number of things. You could have been like, let's, I don't know if there are going to be drinks. Probably not, I guess. But there's going to be drinks. Let's pour a drink out for Matt Ryan.
Well, there are going to be drinks at the.
Okay.
Oh yeah, well, there's a bar. There's a bar. Ouzo, plenty of Ouzo there. Pour out a little Ouzo for
Matt Ryan being on the Celtics. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's done. He's gone. Which was tucked down at the very bottom of a recent Adam Himmelsbach piece earlier this week. So, we're sitting here after Summer League, and I guess I don't know. I keep saying like Summer League doesn't matter, and I guess maybe I just got sucked in. Maybe I just got roped into the performance. But he put on a hell of a shooting performance, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what the Celtics need. But they basically. They had room for one guy, and they picked Sam Hauser, who's, I guess, a better spot-up shooter. Matt Ryan is a better off-the-dribble shooter, and maybe they just say, wait, we don't need somebody to dribble with these guys. We just need somebody to catch and shoot. So goodbye, Matt Ryan. I guess I botched that one.
I mean, look, I stand by my takes on Matt Ryan. I think there's a very solid NBA player in there, and given his skill set, I mean, the very solid NBA player is like, a super necessary like player in the NBA. Like if Matt Ryan becomes an NBA player, he's going to be a pretty good one. Like I know there's kind of this weird, like there's really no in between for a shooter, right? Like if you're a good shooter in the NBA, you're going to get roster spots, you're going to get important minutes. I mean, it doesn't matter that much if you can defend or not. Like look at the Heat, right? Like, when Duncan Robinson can shoot, I mean, yeah, he's not a great defender, but like he shoots and he's super important to your team. Like, I think back to those Sixers teams, right? In 2018, part of the reason the Celtics beat them was because they were attacking their shooters, but the Sixers couldn't take the shooters off the court because they're so important. So like the skill set that Matt Ryan has, if he's at all an NBA player, he's going to catch on somewhere and have a career. And, like you said, the Celtics have Hauser and he does fit a need. And I think, you talk to people and it just, Hauser is singularly talented at shooting, and it's spot up shooting. It's like you said, it's a different type of shooting, but from the sound of everything, he is just like singularly skilled in that area. Like, very like exceptional even for the exceptionals. But I mean, look, Matt Ryan could shoot off movement. I think there's a lot of value in that. I think they drafted Aaron Nesmith, 14th for a reason, and it's partly because, or wherever they drafted him for a reason. It's partly because he was a guy who could shoot off movement in college, and didn't pan out in the NBA. But whatever. I mean, look, I maintain my stance as high on Matt Ryan. I think there's a chance that the Celtics regret that one.
There might be, and there might be a chance that the Celtics are just kind of like stuck in a position here where they just need that spot for somebody else. They just need that spot for.
Okay, like, and I hear you, but who? Like,
well, I mean that's going to be the case. It's going to be, but who is the question that they will answer later in the season. That they may just need that spot for. Hey, maybe we need to trade. Maybe we need to acquire somebody with the TPE, and we're gonna have to keep an open spot, and maybe as they're kind of pushing things forward and kind of looking at what they might do, maybe they just say, hey, he's a good player, but he's not going to be, for us, he's just not going to be as important as, well, the two of us thought. And if we're not going to use him, then we'll do him a favor. There is some element of they're not bringing him back potentially because they're just going to do him a favor. Like, hey, we're not going to sign you and sit you. We're going to let you go be a free agent, go find your opportunity somewhere else. Maybe it's overseas, who knows? And you go make your money. And if there's a little bit of regret, then there's a little bit of regret. Who knows? Maybe he does turn into Max Strus and they go, and Hauser for some reason doesn't pan out. He, as dead-eye shooter as he is, maybe, who knows? Like, again, Nesmith was supposed to be the sniper, right? And he wasn't. So it is funny, though. You hear Grant Williams, what podcast was he on where he talked about, like, the shooting contest, like, and he was just like, Sam Hauser, if I need a shot made, like, I'm going with Sam Hauser. Like, damn. Like, he must never miss in practice. He must never miss.
I mean, I do wonder a little bit if it's partly just like his shot is so pretty, right? Like, it's just like, it's so pure and like, just when it hit, like we've talked about it before, I think on the pod, but when it hits the net, it is this like splashy swish, right? Like it's, there's something very aesthetically pleasing about the way that Sam Hauser shoots for sure. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see if this happens, if he's another Strus or if he's like, a real rotation player, like, real fool me once, shame on, the whatever the George Bush mess up was. Like, fool me, you're not gonna get fooled again. Like, it's I don't know, man. I hope you're right. Like, for their sake, I hope they're right, because I think he could be pretty good. So we'll see. Because the other thing too, all right. My last thing on he's so big. How does a shooter who can clearly shoot that well, who is 6'7", how does that guy fail? I don't know. I don't see it. I think he's going to be good. I think somebody should go sign him.
I think so too. I'm with you. I've been with you. Yeah. They just must think that he's never going to catch on defense, and they're just that it. Hey, look, I always say, like, the right player on the wrong team is the wrong player, right? Like, that's
absolutely.
Like, he can be everything that we're saying, and if he's not going to get the opportunity that he needs or the role that he needs, then he's not going to be everything that we think he can. And so that's why a Max Strus doesn't work somewhere and then works great in Miami. Like, you just got to have the right thing. So it's possible that Matt Ryan can just go somewhere else and thrive in a better role where, hey, maybe they're willing to sacrifice a little defense for the guy who can put the ball on the deck a couple of times and pull up and just drill, crazy shots. Like, and we have to be careful when he does do that and he's putting up like 17 points for, I don't know, the Indiana Pacers or something. You say, well, he wasn't going to get those shots in Boston, so, he wasn't going to average 17 for the Celtics.
I don't have to do anything. I refuse to be careful if that happens. I will be on this podcast immediately after the Millie's introduction with the underscore boys yelling about how good Matt Ryan is.
You're going to underscore your points?
Yes.
Okay, I need a breather after Matt. That's stupid. I'll be right back. All right, I'm recovered from that. Can't all be winners. All right, I want to talk a little, what else do you want to talk about? A little national TV love for the Celtics on the schedule?
There's a lot of national TV games.
There's a lot of national TV games. 37 times. 37 if you include the NBA TV. You know what? I'll be honest. I think this is an opportunity for some people to save some money. If you don't want to spend money on League Pass, if you want to save a little bit, you can say, hey, you're going to catch 37. People aren't like, they aren't all like us who are like, it's 82 games, I got to watch all 82. Life gets in the way. Maybe if you're not somebody who watches every day, although I think podcast listener, you're probably like, if you're listening to this podcast 25 minutes into,
if you got past all the Millie's jokes,
if you got past all of that and you're here now, you're probably paying for League Pass. But hey, not everybody can afford League Pass either. Maybe you want to watch all 82 and you can't swing it. There's inflation. There's a lot of reasons why people might not pay for League Pass. Here you get 37 games. 45% of the schedule is going to be on national TV. Sean Grandy tweeted it out. 5 of them on ABC, 9 TNT, 11 on ESPN, and 12 games are going to be on NBA TV. That's huge. That's the sign of the league believes in this team, and it helps that they're a big market team with a very popular superstar in Jayson Tatum. But even that doesn't put you on TV 37 times. That they believe that you're going to be really, really good.
I think so. The thing that's most interesting to me, and you just touched on it, is the impact that this has on Tatum and kind of his ascent into almost like, the NBA Illuminati, right? Where like he's there now. Like he's, invited to Draymond's wedding. He's taking photos with, LeBron and Steph and everybody for Instagram, right? He's just like, he's hanging out with Jay-Z in the offseason. Like he has reached this point of stardom. And I think this type of exposure is going to keep that rising. Like it's very interesting to watch because, like the Celtics have obviously had stars before, like, super duper stars, whatever. But, Tatum is like, you're kind of watching it from, his rookie season where, like he was, certainly highly thought of, to now where he is a young face of the league. Like he's not, you see these kind of these graphics where it's like, John Morant and Jayson Tatum and, and it's like, well, but like Jayson Tatum is the face of one of the biggest franchises at, age 24, who just went to the finals. I mean, this is like this is going to be interesting because every time there's a, every time there's a national game, there will be promos. Every time there's a promo, Tatum will be the heavily featured Celtic, and there'll be other guys in there, but it'll probably be built around like Tatum versus Luka, Tatum versus, like whatever. It's like this, like his Q rating is already super high, but his Q rating after this year, if he has a good season, he's somebody who takes his, future legacy very, very seriously.
Oh yeah.
This is a very big season for him. If he has a huge season, if he has like, first, second, third, fourth place MVP voting type season, I mean, it's going to matter a lot. The conversation around him is going to be pretty much exactly what he wants it to be after this season. So that opportunity is right there for him.
It's right there. Yep. I think as far as that goes, coming off of last season, I think he learned, all right. And he said it. If I had been doing this all season, I'd be an MVP. He knows his slow start hurt him. He knows that the way he played to end the season was as good as anybody. So one of the storylines for Tatum going into the season is going to be, how does he start the season? Because the last few years he's started slow. And the question is always, is he really a slow starter? Or has, like this past season, very, very short turnaround for the Celtics. The previous season was a very, very short turnaround with the, the rapid restart and all that. And then, now it's another short turnaround, but it's a little bit more, it's more normal. So the question is, like, is he just a notoriously slow starter who's going to be a slow starter? Or is he going to be like, okay, you know what? I got to be more focused at the beginning or whatever. And none of this, I can't make a layup in October and November. And it takes him till December 15th to start like finishing at the rim. He needs to start like dunking on people in that game against Philly. Like he needs to like dunk on Embiid. Like he needs to like show us that, all right, what do you got? So that chase for the MVP could end up being the thing that makes Tatum more consistent, and like maybe that changes the narrative about his slow starts. I'm curious how it would impact all of this national attention, how it impacts Jaylen Brown, because he's been the hot topic all summer, and all of this talk about, does he want to stay? Doesn't he want to stay? And, none of us have heard anything that makes him want to leave, but people want to still put that on him. Well, hey, look, where are you going to go where you're going to be on TV 37 times and everybody gets to see you? And I think Jaylen has been, I don't know if you remember, like years ago, it used to just be like Jaylen was, I'm just going to do my intellectual pursuits. Jason's going to be the guy that pursues all of the ads. And, I'm just kind of happy doing what I do. And now all of a sudden he signs with Kanye on a marketing deal, right? It's a straight marketing deal. It's not his agent or anything, but he's very clearly trying to build a brand. And now all of this national attention has got to mean something. So if there's a question about Jaylen staying or going, well, as long as you're good, look at this. Half of your games are on national TV. Are you going to go to Atlanta and have half your games on national TV? No, because no matter what your ego is, you got to say, like, Atlanta is fine and they could be good, but Boston is Boston and they're going to be on TV. So if you're Jaylen and you're trying to build a brand and whatever, wouldn't you want to stay in a place where not only the history and the tradition, but the exposure that you're looking for? You don't have to go to New York. You don't have to go to LA. You don't have to go somewhere else. It's right here.
I think if you're Jaylen, it depends what kind of exposure you're looking for, because like if you look at what he and Tatum did there, I mean, even so, it is, he did have that kind of, I mean, I don't think he ever said it, explicitly or anything, but like, he did kind of have that weird delineation where Tatum was getting Rakuten and whatever else, and he was doing appearances at Harvard or whatever, and it was like, just two dudes doing their own very different thing, and it made sense. And and Jaylen, this marketing deal with Kanye, I mean, it is a step toward marketing and toward that aspect of things, but it's very different. It's like it does kind of fit, Jaylen as somebody who does things a little bit differently and kind of marches to his own drum and all that stuff. Like, and I'm curious, like he will get major exposure in Boston, but I think it's just going to depend what type of exposure he wants. Does he want the exposure of being potentially the best player on a team, and maybe it doesn't matter that much, like what market it's in or whatever? I mean, like, does he think that on a different team, like he might kind of have opportunities that he appreciates more? I think I don't know. I do not know the answer to that, but he certainly, if whatever he's trying to do, whatever, kind of image and brand he's trying to build for himself, they'll get a lot of exposure this season. I mean, both these guys are going to be just in the limiest limelight that you can imagine.
The limiest limelight.
I'm a wordsmith. Corrales.
I mean, you really are. I mean, you're really. If I'm the Celtics, I'm going to ABC, ESPN, TNT, and I'm saying, hey, look, what can we do to make sure you're putting Jaylen in your coming up graphics? Like, is it, like you said, hey, coming up Wednesday night on ESPN, it's Luka Doncic, it's Jayson Tatum. Can you do like Tatum and Jaylen? Can you have like a little side by side? Can you alternate? Can you get a few Jaylen Browns just by himself in there? Like, I'm really trying to do whatever I can to make sure that he's getting that attention. And they may just do it anyway, because if Jaylen is having an all-star season, right? First of all, let me backtrack a little bit. If the Celtics are a top seed and you're heading into the all-star break as a 1, 2, or 3 seed, there's going to be conversation about assuming that Jaylen does what he does and Jayson does what he does, and they're relatively healthy, there's going to be conversation about both those guys are in. And if both those guys are in and he's having an all-star season, then he'll probably be in some graphics anyway because he's an all-star.
Right.
And that'll happen organically. But I'm still behind the scenes. I'm still trying to push because I know that his contract's coming up. And I also know that Jason's going to get all the attention. You don't have to push that at all.
Mm-mm.
But I will push the Jaylen agenda a little bit with these guys and say, whatever you can do, how do we do this? Is there anything, any way to just put his face out there a little bit more in association? And, I don't even know if that's possible, if there's that level of collaboration, but
of course it's possible. I mean, think like you can get it in the promos. You could get like a 5-minute, Jaylen Brown talks to Cassidy Hubbard, like little like feature, and it's like any of that stuff would be very possible and very doable. I think you're 100% right. I think that's definitely going to happen. What's going to be funny is ESPN or any of these like national outlets with those two stars, they're actually going to miss the most exciting Celtic, Robert Williams. Like there'll be like highlights of him in there, but you want to talk about somebody who is fascinating and entertaining to watch and all this stuff. I mean, that's Rob. Like I'm curious to see if the Celtics play well, and if they are, if they're the top seed, if he's having a good season, I wonder if this is the first year we start to get some, hey, I kind of think Rob should be an all-star this year. If we start to get some of that chatter.
Yeah. He's in the front court. The problem is there's no like straight center spot. Yeah. And exactly. A lot of these front court, but it's tough to get a center in there. That's not like, you get NBA. Rudy Gobert in there because he's just, and defensive player of the year candidate, but so's Rob now. He was first team all defense. Or second, so he was, he's an all defensive player. So, hey, you
and he's not just an offensive player, Larry. He's not just a defensive player. He gives you a little bit, He
gives you some offense. Yeah, He definitely does. The national exposure is going to be really interesting to see how these guys are treated in the national media. I'll end with this, and my one hope based on all of this conversation: get the damn Time Lord origin story right. Just get that right, please. I know some people, and they're probably not going to listen to this particular podcast, but I know that there's some people in there on ESPN that listen, and if you do happen to hear this one, just understand that he was making fun of, they were making fun of the national media reaction to Time Lord to Robert Williams being late and all that. So it's kind of a joke on you guys. So
it's a joke on anybody who took it seriously that he missed his first summer league practice.
Right.
Anybody who took that seriously, they're making fun of you.
Yes. It's not a joke about him being late. It's a joke about the reaction to him being late. Just get that right, and you're not going to want to say that on TV. So let it go. Let it go. Even if they say, "Oh yeah, it's a nickname poking fun at how all of the reaction to him being late," like you just say that, boom, be simple and done. You don't have to like take it and own it and be like, "Oh, they're making fun of me."
Right.
Like just breeze by it, but just get it right, because they didn't care. And you know what? Since then, he hasn't not once has he been like late for a plane. He's had like a kid. Like the only thing that he's been, any sort of time related issues have been like, oh yeah, he's got to potentially leave for a kid. That's so like there's never been a thing like that. How did that become a thing and stick? How do people think that that's still stuck? He isn't.
And not for nothing, the people who were making the then Weird Celtics Twitter folks who were making fun of the national narrative, they were right. It didn't matter at all. He still is him showing up late, him missing that media call, whatever. He's a very good NBA player. He's a very intuitive passer. He's all this stuff that he does so well. It didn't matter. they were right. Yeah. Like, it just did not matter at all.
I can just say this. I legit love Robert Williams, man. That dude is genuine.
Yes.
That who you see on the podium there is that's just him. He's honest. When he messes up, he's like, yeah, that was on me. I love the Southern drawl. I love the attitude. I love the twist at the end. I love the fact that he has to like swear every other sentence. Like, it's just the absolute best. The absolute best.
He's so much fun, man, because like he'll like, you get a lot of athletes, they hear like if you're asking them a question, right, you'll hear they'll hear a buzzword or two, and they'll be like, okay, this question is about that. Yeah, I'll answer that. Okay, this question is about that. Yeah, I'll answer that. But like Rob, he really like he'll hear what you're saying, and he'll kind of sit and think about it, and and then he'll give you an answer. Like he's genuine, he's thoughtful, he's great. Rob's great.
He's great. You know who else is great? The underscore boys.
Hey, underscore boys.
Come underscore NBA. You're great.
Hey, thanks, man.
It's Friday. We're heading into the weekend. It's going to be a good time. I'm not going to bust your balls. I like it.
Hey, that was a fun pod.
All right. Now go bye-bye. Thanks, everybody. This is like a crazy Friday in the middle of August. We're actually now really smack in the middle of August, heading into the end of August. So just having some fun talking whatever. If you're still here, then thank you so much. I mean, that's great. I'm glad that you're still here. I know we've lost a few people along the way, people moving on to other podcasts, or I know they'll be back. But happy to have the real true diehards here throughout all of this. Really do appreciate you. Still podcasting 3 days a week at least. I was looking back at some of the other Celtics podcasts. Love all those guys, but the fact is, some of them have only done 2 podcasts this month, and I'm sitting here doing 3 a week. So if you want Celtics-related content, this is the place to be. Locked On Celtics. Still 3 days a week through August and September. Sometimes 4, like this week. Maybe 5 if something big happens. But once the season starts, once we get to September and training camp comes back in, it's back to 5 days a week. So you're going to get plenty of Celtics content here on the Locked On Celtics podcast. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch the show on YouTube. Subscribe there. Give it that thumbs up. Hit that bell so you can get notified. Make sure you're commenting and all of that stuff. And share the podcast. Tell everybody. Tell your friends, family, everyone they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.